Meanwhile, the Somali Armed Forces is celebrating 57 years of its existence. President Mohamed Abdullahi led a ceremony to mark the day with a call on Islamic group Al-Shabaab to lay down their arms and help rebuild the country. Somalia's army has been backed by African Union forces since 2007.
Somalia's military marked 57 years since it was formed in a ceremony on Wednesday, April 12, attended by various officials from the government and the African Union mission in Somalia. Newly elected President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed watched the parade where tanks were on display and soldiers marched. Somalia's national army was founded in 1960 after the country won independence from Italian and British colonialists. Somalia has been in turmoil since 1991, hit by decades of conflict at the hands of clan militias. But the country's soldiers, who are poorly paid and ill-equipped, are known to have sold their uniforms and weapons to buy food to feed their families. The army also lacks sophisticated command structures. Somalia's army is 40,000 strong in Mogadishu and its surrounding regions, and last month, hundreds of soldiers held protest over delayed salaries. Somalia is being pushed to build its own capacities and put in place an effective government. In February, Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed, popularly known by his nickname Farmajo, was elected the country's new president on a campaign promise to halt corruption in the aid-dependent nation. The president has repeatedly asked Islamist groups to surrender, promising his people that the era of Al-Shabaab and other Islamist militant groups was over. We have to create changes and create reliable security in Mogadishu, where more than 3 million people live, as well as the rest of the country that is under control of terrorists. We have to take over all these places, and that is what Somali people expect us to do in a very short period. Al-Shabaab has been able to carry out deadly bombings despite losing most of its territory to AMISOM. Many attacks are aimed at military bases, but some also target civilians. The group's insurgency aims to drive out the peacekeepers, topple Somalia's Western-backed government, and impose its strict version of Islam on the Horn of Africa state. Please do not kill the people and don't destroy. Please come to us and let us negotiate and rebuild our country. The new government says security is a priority, but challenges remain. Somalia has been long viewed as a launch pad for militant Islam in East Africa and beyond, and many fear the nation could slide back into chaos if local forces cannot cement gains. Today is the 57th anniversary of Somalia's military forces, and it happened peacefully. Praise be to Allah. There is an enemy who wants to destroy Somali people, but we will overcome the enemy very soon, and Somalis will overcome their enemy. Last week, President Mohamed replaced his security chiefs and called on Al-Shabaab fighters to surrender within 60 days in return for education and jobs.
And in Ivory Coast, the head of the Presidential Guard under ex-leader Laurent Gbagbo has been sentenced to 18 years in prison over killings during the country's civil conflict in 2011. After a 10-month trial in Abidjan, 5 others were also jailed for their role in the killings, including the country's former police chief. General Bruno Dogoublé was convicted for the murder of 4 foreign businessmen who were abducted from a top hotel in the main city of Abidjan. Only one body was found and dumped in a lagoon in the city. Some 3,000 people died in the conflict that followed elections in 2010. A unit of the elite Presidential Guard was found to have stormed the Novotel Hotel in Abidjan's financial district on April the 4th, 2011, as fighting raged for the control of the commercial capital. South Africa's President Jacob Zuma has hit back at his critics, saying that leaders before him like Nelson Mandela and Thabo Mbeki were attacked in a similar manner. President Zuma was in Soweto last night for his 75th birthday celebration with his wife, Thobeka Madiba Zuma. But visibly absent were top leaders of the ANC, including the Deputy President, Cyril Ramaphosa, as well as Secretary General Gwede Mantashe, and provincial officials. Hours earlier, thousands of people had gathered in Pretoria, the country's capital, asking him to step down from office. Speaking in local dialect, he says he's willing to step down from office if his party, the ANC, tells him to. And at least 8 police officers have been killed by unknown gunmen in a late-night roadside ambush in Tanzania. The police were attacked on their way to Bungo village, and that's 110 kilometers south of the main city, Dar es Salaam. Police say they pursued the bandits back to their hideout, killing 4 of them in a shootout. President John Magufuli has sympathized with the police over the officers' deaths. The police described the attack as banditry. The Home Affairs Minister Mwigulu Nchemba has announced a wide-ranging investigation into the killings.